Welcome back to the Reboot Show. I'm your host, Sally A. Illingworth, and I'm excited to be here today for our third segment of the DIF Daily Download series. This segment is powered by Big Mouth. Once again, I'm joined by our resident technology panelist, Luke Stowe and Kelly Hutchinson from Digital Innovation Futures Victoria. Before we get started, Luke, I'd like to hand over to you to do our acknowledgement of country, please.
Yeah, thank you, Sally. On behalf of us all appearing live today from Melbourne, Victoria, Australia, we would like to acknowledge the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation as the traditional owners on the land in which we meet today. We respectfully recognise elders past, present and emerging.
Thanks very much, Luke. And as always to our audience, if you're coming in live, drop a 1 below. If you're coming in on the replay, drop a 2 below. And as always, let us know where you're coming in from. It's incredible to see how these platforms bring us all together. So to get started, Kelly, tell us, what were the highlights of the DIF Festival today?
Well, I started out my morning with a room online of educated technology people. So all of you out there who've got kids at home doing schooling, well, these are the people who are actually making that possible. So they are the people who run the servers in the schools, who do the emails, who set all the different tools that you need to use to make actually delivering homeschooling, the teachers to deliver homeschooling. So it was quite amazing to be in that session. And so it's the Consortium of Educational Technologists, and they really are, you know, they're always trying to be at the forefront of what is the new technology that can help in classroom teaching. And then they had to pivot totally online this year. And they themselves had to pivot this first, this term 3 session online themselves. So they were as much new to the process as the teachers and the students have been throughout this whole pandemic. So that was a really exciting program to be in.
Yeah, it would have been, and such an exciting, really great group of people that are doing that. I mean, I think the thing for me is how quickly they were able to stand up online learning. It's really quite a credit to the people involved. Did you get much of a sense of any new sort of emerging trends with technology for schools?
Well, it was interesting because one of the things around the group was that, they walk the talk, right? So the session was actually trialing out some new tools. So yeah. I was in a group and they did a breakout, and they know that between 3 and 4 people is the right type of scale to actually get meaningful conversation. And I loved it because there's a principal on the line. He said, you know that if you get more than that, you're going to get observers, bystanders who won't participate. Yeah. So it was really things around the pedagogy, right? So it is that thing of being able to look at the tool, but then still don't forget how the learning happens and how the engagement happens. And so that was something I really, really loved. And it is something I think we talk about a lot of it is it in this discussion this week, is that the tools are one thing, but people have to use them. They have to see why they should use them. So change management and adoption of tech was so important to all of the conversations, whether they were rolling out, across 5 schools, the single tap printer network, right? From 5 different schools, and each different school had a different culture about how they did printing.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So it's fascinating.
Point around, sorry, Luke, before you jump in, that point around having caps on how many students you may have in a breakout room is really quite key, because I think for children, it has been particularly challenging for them to not be in classroom environments, because as much as many kids in 2021 and beyond might enjoy sitting on an iPad, I think they actually get quite virtually fatigued by sitting on, Zoom or Microsoft Teams throughout the whole day. Sorry, Luke.
Yeah.
No, look, they're obviously better off at school, but it will become part of the way that we now teach. And I think online learning will be part and parcel of new curriculum moving forward. I think it's great. Look, it's a good in the mix. It doesn't have to be the whole answer. And we know the benefits of going to school and meeting other kids and being part of that social environment is really quite good for people. But it's a great thing. And credit to the people, Kelly, who've been involved in doing that, particularly all the Victorian people. So congratulations. What else was on today? Anything else that took a note?
Yeah, we had Bradley Deacon doing his Grow Your Brand by Going Social, and that was really looking at the way that individuals can utilize social media to improve their profile, to look at new audiences and new opportunities. And there was also our not-for-profit tech stream that we have. So we've got Info Exchange and the Connecting Up, organisation that looks after non-profit technology. So think about it. Schools are a non-profit. Well, sorry, there's the private sector, but they've still got similar challenges. That the community organisations, the big organisations like, World Vision or the like, but then you've got your small local non-profit organisation. Their workforce also had to go virtual, and they're dealing with two sides. One is, how do you keep fundraising when you're dealing with a pandemic and you're not able to do maybe what you might have been able to do before? And the other one, and that you're going to need to raise money in difficult circumstances. So how does social media help you do that? And then another really important one is, how do they have a remote workforce that's secure, right? If you're dealing with vulnerable communities and their information, how do you able to manage that data and have that? So setting up proper cybersecurity protocols and things like that. So, that's part of the digital inclusion, but it's also acknowledging that this nonprofit sector is a huge employer. It's also a huge volunteer network. So what are the technological implications? Sorry, the implications of having a diverse workforce that is not all paid, having access and managing information.
I think there's probably some benefits, hopefully, despite the challenges that may have come throughout that pivot that was sort of forced and thrust upon that sort of sector throughout COVID. I think there will certainly be some benefits, though, for them in terms of looking at how they potentially scale their efforts when it comes to fundraising, because I can imagine there's so many opportunities offered by having that digital enablement. So beyond COVID and sort of irrespective of COVID as we move forward, that'll offer them so many benefits to scale the work that they're doing.
Well, what's really impressive and something that is changing is the ability to use data to analyse the impact. Because we don't just raise funds to deliver a service. We want to know that that service delivers the outcome, the impact to the community that it's there to serve. And philanthropic and government grants, which are very important for the non-government sector to deliver that face-to-face and ground, on the ground support and care, because they're the experts at doing it. But how do you actually measure that impact? So there's been quite a big movement around social return on investment and being able to measure the impact, and data is vital to that. Absolutely. And then whether that's transactional data, whether or not that's, case study data about the amount of people that have been supported through a program, all of those types of things, being able to gather that together to put forward the evidence of saying, well, we need to scale, right? You use the word scale there. By using the information, as opposed to just gathering the information, which people do a lot of gather everything. If you don't analyze it and apply it to your business or your services or your anything, you're not going to get the outcome and the impact that you're wanting. And so if you're trying to argue a case to the board to invest in a new, rolling out a new virtual platform for your network of, Office 365 or Google, whatever the product might be, it's an investment that has to be seen. And when it's a tech investment, I think all of us know that it doesn't matter what type of organisation you are, it's an investment in money, of time, and the resources to change, as much as it is about the licensing of the software. So,
I'd like to hear your thoughts on that. They're conversations that you're very, very passionate about, particularly using data in an intelligent way, in a smart way, to what Kelly's highlighting, and actually drawing insights out of data.
Oh, look, I think it's critical, and Kelly covers it well. And, we've got to remember that these organisations that we're talking about have really been hit hard with the pandemic, and, their clients, people, need them to be up and running. And so it's, this virtual world becomes very important, and accessibility and digital inclusion are in that mix as well. Giving people the ability to communicate is something that we've taken for granted, with being locked away. So I shouldn't have said locked away. And
lockdown is the term.
Lockdown, that's the right word. But it's really quite critical. So I think it's great that there's some innovation around that. I think it's good that there's some sharing and coming together and talking about how can we make this as a community better. And as Kelly says, data is so important here, because it really gives you the insights, not just collecting it, but really looking at it and understanding what do we need to find here to help us understand how we can do things better for the future. I think that's great. Excellent.
Actually, yesterday we were talking about the download. So part of the DIF Daily download, I'm going to jump in before you there, Sally, is that you're sharing case studies and resources and ebooks that people can learn from what other people have done. And you were talking about Salesforce. Now, Salesforce, like many corporates, have a not-for-profit donation program for community sector. And so, Salesforce has got great CRM in being able to manage donors and constant, giving, and then also the administration. Microsoft, and they're all actually amazing corporate citizens by acknowledging that their software has a power for good. And that is something that, and that's where I think also the opportunity to move from a tech role in a corporate, go to a tech role in a nonprofit. You will find such an amazing ability to be able to make a real impact from your skills in one sector to another. And it really actually helps you maybe grow your career in being able to take on a role in a nonprofit that you wouldn't be able to get at the next level for a while. And then you come back into the sector that you're in. So it's all those types of different ways of thinking about the skills you have in technology, which sector can they be applied in? And they're very interchangeable.
I think that's a really great suggestion. Yeah, so go, Sam.
No, I was just going to say, that really speaks to, thinking about, future of jobs, future skills, etc. And Luke, I know you'd have some thoughts on this, given your 30-odd years experience in technology. But, traditionally when we thought about technology and technology jobs and technology job titles and roles, etc., they were sort of siloed in different areas of business, and certain industries and sectors they were more prominent in. But to what you're highlighting, Kelly, now in 2021 and beyond, technology is a part of every business. It's not just in, for example, the traditional first movers, say financial services. It's across every sector, including non-for-profit. So it's a really good opportunity, particularly by leveraging, say, the resources that people can gain access to via the DIF Festival, is trying to broaden the horizons and think differently about where can I, learn to use technology in different environments, because now technology is a part of every business.
Well, I think it's a great way of getting into a different industry by doing some time in a non-for-profit. I know that even in my 9 to 5 sort of days, which never really existed, it was always longer than that, I had an opportunity to do some work with Oxfam from a technology volunteering point of view. And a lot of these organisations do take on volunteers, particularly if they've got skills and capabilities. You said it might be in Salesforce or Microsoft or SAP or Oracle. I think I've named them all, so I can't get in any trouble. But all of those will, encourage people to come on board and to help. And I think if you're looking to broaden your horizons and get involved in perhaps something that you haven't really done before, you might be a project manager that you'd like to do some business analysis or vice versa, then it's a great way to upskill yourself. Or someone looking to enter that sort of technology.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no,
absolutely.
Excellent.
Yeah. And it was interesting. I was at the Top Tech Trends debate last night, and one of the, there was so many amazing minds on the case and pitching what they thought was going to be the next thing. But one of the things was the need to do volunteer work and have experience in business. And even if you are a student and you're a graduate and you're look at possibly doing an internship. Because those skills that you've learned at university can definitely be applied. And I know that when I was employing people, I go, well, what else have they done in their life apart from study and do some work? When you volunteer, you get that opportunity to do things that you maybe wouldn't have been able to do if you were in a paid role. So it's a really great way to help grow out your career, whether at different levels.
Excellent.
Now, I'm mindful of time, and I'm glad, Kelly, that you shared Bradley Deacon's session today as the highlight on social media, because our DIF Daily Download today is an ebook produced by local Victorian business, Lamps Media, on the 3 priorities for creating great content for technology brands, and it covers, priorities that you can leverage in both startup technology businesses and across enterprise technology businesses. So, Luke, do you want to share an overview of what people can expect from that ebook?
Do you know what, Sally? I wouldn't do it as much justice as you would, because obviously you've got a lot of background on this. So would you mind?
Yeah, sure. We can do role reversal. That's fine.
Yeah, Hey, Sally, why don't you give
It's
us
about being adaptable and agile, remember?
Well,
Yeah, that's right. Sally, would you like to give us an overview of the document?
I would absolutely love to, Luke. So in this ebook, we're really proud of what we've been able to pull together. So we cover off the 3 priorities for creating great content for technology brands, because as I'm sure that Bradley Deacon covered in his social media session today, when it comes to the world of content, it can be incredibly overwhelming, across all types of sizes of businesses, if you like. So we go through the 3 priorities, which are content format. So figuring out, which format should we be producing content in? People go, do I do a video? Do I do an ebook? Do I do, some sort of poll or something to that effect? We also cover off the importance of selecting great content contributors, which can come from inside your organization, but also externally. So this is a great example of how we are producing live content, with people from multiple businesses, for example.
Are we live?
Pardon?
Are we live?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I knew that. I was just thought I'd throw that out there. Go ahead.
Well, it's that thing. It could be a recorded piece of content, not live.
You never know.
And then the final thing that we focus on as the 3rd priority is the importance of narrative design, which we've found, that's incredibly challenging for technology brands in particular, because often technology businesses are challenged by having to communicate complex things simply, and or to a point you were highlighting earlier, Kelly, translating technology conversations into business speak, so it makes business sense. Is that an all right job, Luke? Did I do it justice?
I think you did really well. I couldn't have done it better myself.
Well, they're definitely something I'd look at, because we're doing, the whole point of the DIF is actually promoting technology, the local companies, technologists, the opportunities that are there. So even for us, I can learn something, and that's the thing about doing this type of activity, and always keeping your mind open that you can learn something. And it's the fact that you can make it in tangible ways of practical checklists. I love them. That's always a great idea. So thanks so much for sharing that story from Lance Media. That's fantastic.
Good.
Beautiful.
And, can I just ask before we, is the DIF on over the weekend?
It is actually. There's actually our Emerging Innovation Summit opens on Sunday, and it's running for 3 days. And it was meant to be in the Yarra Valley to have a little bit of technology thinking outdoors, because Alexei Bolovsky, who's the head of this, really loves nature and he loves technology. And he said, well, why don't we do the 2 together? Okay. Yeah, well, there's a reason why we can't do the 2 together, but he has lined up an amazing array of 3 days worth of 15-minute talks. So you can drop in and out, and it's great. It's going to be fantastic. And I'm going to give it one of the morning keynotes. So tune into that one. I haven't worked out.
On which morning? On Saturday or Sunday?
No, it starts on Sunday morning, runs through 9 to 5 for 3 days.
Excellent. Okay. And when will we be back doing our daily download? Is it Monday?
Monday.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Monday, 5:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. And thank you very much, Kelly, for joining us again today. We appreciate it. And to everyone who's tuned in, do make sure that you go on over to the DIF website. As Kelly highlighted, there's things on this weekend, but more importantly, DIF is available on demand. So do it in your own time.
On demand, and subscribe.
And
That's
subscribe.
Right.
As always, we'll see you on Monday, 5:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. Thanks, guys.
Thanks a lot. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.